Hello, and welcome back to Sharing a Chapter a Day. This is Do, Ra, Me, and today I will be reading Chapter 25 of Engagement in Peril by Dara, Odoe, Sup. Chapter 25 is titled Novice, Eager, Beaver, Sex Drive. My involvement with Suzanne began as a defense for my ill-fated reputation, if I had any at the time. I stupidly one day uttered the wrong words about Kelly, and someone went around arousing suspicion that Kelly and I were sexually involved. I, being an eager beaver then, and trying to impress the masses. This said, I fucked her once. Trying to impress my peers of degenerate then, when Kelly harshly denied any involvement with me, with no common sense or courtesy then, I didn't want to say anything about the matter and looked the other way and allowed the rumors to go about as if those mischievous events had actually taken place throughout the school. That was your first mistake, Dara. What an idiot. That's how you impress your friends or try to get the attention of the very girl you love? I wish I was there then too. I could have set you straight. You're one stupid asshole and a dumb idiotic bastard, said the one respectable outcast. I was talking to several of my buddies one day, and one thing led to another, where ignorant, boyish demeanor involved flaunting and boasting about our young and vital manhood, and it turned out that I had stated that I fucked her. Her being Kelly, of course. The statement alone shook the world around me and brought upon me enemies out of the woodworks. Upon receiving my blunt, harsh statement courtesy of eavesdropping, Kelly brought along several large fellows who were her friends and admired to confront me, better yet to have them pummel me like the scum that I was and still am. I, much smaller than them at the time, than that of Kelly's enforcer, was prepared to rumble and get dirty. But then out of the blue, like a rescuing angel, Suzanne stepped in and brought the whole commotion to a standstill and changed the course of nature for that particular dreary day for my young, rapidly beating heart. My adrenaline was pumped and prepared to fight, or flight, but with Suzanne's comfort and defense, I had calmed down shortly after. Alone to themselves, the two girlfriends spoke secretly and quietly away from the high-strung, bloodthirsty crowd. Suzanne said something to Kelly, explained and apologized for me, and that was that. The fire was put out, and there was no fighting or any other altercation for the rest of that day. Just that easy? What was the catch then? I had no idea. If there were any, I know not what it was. What in the hell was Suzanne think she was doing then? I barely know that girl. True, we did have several classes together. She was Kelly's best friend, but I've never seen Suzanne as someone I would lust or desire for, let alone have wet dreams about. She was getting into where she has no right of being in. I was both angry and relieved when Suzanne stepped in to defend me. I was in shock in regard to what Suzanne did for me that day. She probably had saved my young life then. Damn right, Suzanne saved your ass then, Dara. Don't be so ignorant. Don't be the ignorant fool. That girl had taken a liking to you. Much respect for her. So show some respect, motherfucker. Reminding myself once again. Kelly was still steaming over my meandering statement, and I couldn't bear to have her hate me. Not like that. I was so deeply stuck onto her then, and still is to this day. The thought of her drives me crazy. There was no bloodshed that day, and my young, tainted life continued another day. To this day, I still question why Suzanne did what she did for me. Did she have a motive in all this? Or was I just being punk? Or was she just being a compassionate person toward a pathetic fool like me then? Maybe she felt sorry for me. Now, Dara, I don't think Suzanne had any devious intention then. She's not like you, Dara. She was pure and angelic then. So, be nice about it, huh? Said the fool smilingly. Allow me to describe Suzanne TK for you. My savior that day was a big-boned, sun-tanned Cambodian girl. A bit on the heavy side, who was very smart. She was the school class president. She was articulate and well-liked amongst many. She was involved in the student government and honor society, and was also our 8th grade class president at Benjamin Franklin Middle School in Long Beach, California. Like Kelly and me, Suzanne was also in the accelerated and honors classes. She was quite cute in her own right. She had a very beautiful smile, which attracted me to her. Though it be a bit heavy, she was light on her feet and graceful, and she can dance. She has a very nice smile along with a big heart, not to mention her big, natural knockers. And this girl enjoyed dancing very much. I don't know what she saw in me then, but for some strange, unexplainable reason, this girl liked me for me. She liked me for me, Lord. Did you hear that? The weirdo that I am? I don't think she had any other alternative intention than to just like me for me. Hey world, here's the scoop. Suzanne is the first girl that I've got involved with physically and sexually. Now be advised, it wasn't that she was easy or anything, and no, she wasn't a hoe or was loose, not like Delilah from Volume 3 of Shin Shinigami, the bastard torn, and the succubus they slept with. No, not at all. Suzanne was pure and innocent. Unlike some of Kelly's other friends, Suzanne wasn't easy to hit and run or have your ways with at the time. She was quite the challenge for me then. But oh boy, time has changed. As we got older and grew apart and reunited, the thing she bragged and boasts about of her sexual prowess was just to hurt and spite me then. Who's laughing now, dear friend? What the fuck are you talking about, Dara? Stay focused now. She had your numbers back then. She run you ragged. Do you even remember any of it? Tis, you pathetic fool, said the comedic bastard, challenging me of past events. While months into my 8th grade school year, during the fall of 1990, my family and I moved to another apartment, much larger and way better off than the previous. It was a little further from school than the other place, but much closer to Polytechnic High School off Atlantic. It was off Lime and PCH. I continued going to the same middle school, and it turned out that I was living by Suzanne now. Must have been fate, I guess, or some kind of coincidence. I don't think so, Dara. God's been messing with you as of late, and he's gonna kick your ass once again. Gonna kick you to the curb once again soon, so be warned. Kelly, Suzanne, and I had the same algebra class together this 8th grade year. The two lovely friends, well, they would sit on one side while I sat on the other side. We also had the same health class. It was where I always daydreamed about Kelly. And Suzanne knew how much I liked her friend then, and didn't want to get in the way of my desire for her adorable friend. Now, I remember a time during health class, we were learning about the reproduction system, sperms and eggs, mitosis and such. I had a question for the teacher, and I asked, "Don't sperm ever run out?" The teacher and the entire class giggled and laughed at me, making me feel as though I was some kind of an idiot. What I meant was then, do men ever stop reproducing sperm? Eventually, she told the class to calm down and say that men don't ever stop producing sperm, no matter how old they get. It's an ever-ongoing process for men. Unlike women, who are born with a limited number of eggs, and once all the eggs were bled out, she no longer is able to menstruate. Hence she becomes barren and hits menopause. But it was too late. I was already embarrassed and pissed off about the situation. But I got over it quickly after class and ended. and we went out to our next class afterward. From that day, Suzanne prevented me from getting my ass. From the day that Suzanne prevented me from getting my ass beaten by Kelly's admirer, she and I began to see each other in a different light. She seemed to be paying more attention to me now, or maybe I didn't notice it before because I was so hung up on Kelly and that she had been looking at me all this time. She would say hello to me as often as she could, and I returned the greeting as often as I could. I was now starting to open up to Suzanne, and our friendship began to bond and form and blossom. We began to talk to each other more, and it turned out that Suzanne had lived across the alley from me on 1877 Olive Avenue, where I live on 1884 Lime Avenue, Long Beach, California, 90813. By this time, my mother had moved our family to Lime Avenue in Long Beach, where I continued to walk to school, but instead of walking on Cherry and 7th Street, I would walk on PCH and Martin Luther King Jr. to Franklin Middle School. This is how I come to find out where Suzanne had lived. One day, I was making my way home after school on MLK and walking on the opposite side of the street were Suzanne and her sister Annie and Sokum, one of her girlfriends. They too were walking home from the school that day, but usually her dad would pick them up from school. I guess today was different, and they had to walk home. I waved hello to them across the street and to the other side and asked them where they were going. Home, they said. I asked if I may walk with them, and Suzanne didn't seem to mind, but her friend gave me a look that told me to fuck off, scum. Fuck that bitch. Anyhow, with Suzanne's reassuring smile, I walked with them in spite of her friend's ugly face gesture. On our way home, fortunately, Sakum parted away from us when we reached her home street, right behind Long Beach Polytechnic High School, and there were 3 of us left for the rest of the journey home. It seemed strange to me then that Suzanne was walking the same direction I was walking. She turned where I turned. Our eyes seemed to lock at several times. I must admit, it wasn't love at first sight. Or nor did I get the same tingling or weird sensation that I get when I think about Kelly. But it was nice, a nice wholesome feeling within. Something warm, something that I hadn't ever felt before in forever in my young, impressionable life. So I just smiled and continued forward with my new friend alongside me. Closer and closer to our apartment we approached. I finally asked where she lived. She said that she lived on Olive Avenue. I thought to myself, that's a street across the alley from mine, Lime Street. She also said that she lived in the second house from the end of the street, and that was weird. I too live in the second apartment from the end of that street and block of the street. But I didn't tell her that day where I lived. We said our goodbyes and parted way when we reached the corner of Olive Avenue and PCH. She and her sister took a quick right and went down the end of their block, and as for me, I continued forward and hooked the next right, about 50 yards away from their street off of Lime Avenue. Walking home with them that day seemed strange and weird to me, but nice. A pleasant feeling that I haven't had in a long time. Damn right, Dara. That was weird. Looks like the girl was stalking you. Anyhow, please go ahead and explain how more to our reader. I being pushy. Thank you for listening. This is the end of chapter 25. Be on the lookout for chapter 26, titled Affectionate. Until next time, this is Dara, me, and I'll see you later. Thank you.